are the smaller ones. Go back to the computer. Hey! Wow!
Bears are not out here. We have 8 grizzly bears. Right now there's 2 out here in the habitat. The other bears are all secured in their dens are here because when they were living out there in the wild near Denali National Park, they were orphaned when both their mothers we do. So these 2 bears, could not survive in the wild. They arrived here in the center when they were about 6 or 8 months old. They are now 17 years old. Point, it's kind of harder to introduce, especially adult to another adult. It's not an easy thing to introduce bears. You need to be pretty sure it's going to work out well. Well, they don't really go for the ravens. For one thing, ravens are just part of their natural landscape, and as scavengers, they're not really competing with the bears for food. Also, ravens fly, so they're really hard to catch, and bears don't like to expend that much energy. And lastly, we feed them pretty well, and I imagine the food we feed them is better than a raven, but I don't know because I've never had a raven.
And there she was.
So playful and swimming.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get a nice whip? What?
So even though you're in captivity, they still do that.
Yeah, that scent rolling is just, some people think it also might be to mask their scent, so if they were hunting, a herd of elk, the elk would.
I used to hate it when my dog did that.
We've hit a variety of fruits and vegetables out here, and also I think a couple of bones has just begun, so we are getting some meat and bones in. When she was 10 years old, she got into some unsecured human food sources in a housing area north of West Yellowstone. They relocated her 100 miles away, and she stayed away for an entire decade. But in 2002, it was a drought year. She couldn't find enough food in the wild for her cubs, and she took them all the way back to that same neighborhood. Once again, done things like trash, bird feeders, but even worse, people were putting food out specifically to feed her so they could get pictures of her and her cubs. What they get out here is generally going to be a snack. When they go back inside, their meal will be waiting for them. That'll be more fish and bones, and then about 75% of what they eat is fruits and vegetables.